Hi all, welcome to another Chess 24 Kingscrusher Banter Blitz. So, okay, I'm going to look at the challenges here from the start. Chess Chipmunk. Let's accept Chess Chipmunk and play maybe c4. Of course, a bit loud. Hello, Chess Chipmunk. And so we have an English opening. I'm trying to play positioning in the first game. It was once recommended to me by the English opening was once recommended to me by Andrew Webster. I remember a 30-minute tournament which had Michael Adams playing in it. Andrew Webster managed to draw with Adams playing the English opening and said to me, basically it's quite an easy opening to play, you just control d5. I mean, he's got a point, it is kind of easy compared to a lot of e4 stuff. I mean, your basic idea is to control the d5 square in the English opening. Andrew Webster, I think he's retired now though. He became an IM and he was a great positional player. Really admire him. Okay, so I'm not entirely threatening anything at the moment. I'm not even sure about a3, knight e4. I guess a3 might be useful. Knight e4 hitting c5, b6, the diagonal. The thing is, the knight protects. This is a Botvinnik system set up, good bind on d4, and the knight protects a8. So it rules out a lot of knight e5 tactics. Okay, I wonder if he's going to play b5 or b6. I think in the style of the Botvinnik system, b6 is more in the style of that, you know, bishop b7, just keeping a solid bind, that sort of Maroczy bind in reverse. Okay, I'm just going to test this. He plays b6 here, right? And he's going to play like f5 probably. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to provoke him to play f5 for no particular reason. I'm hoping it will be weaknesses later. It might not be. So come at me with f5. I'm hoping to tap into some weaknesses. Okay, it's optimistic maybe. You know, maybe knight h4 later. Okay, we're changing the pawn structure here. I'll go back. Maybe a2 is not entirely terrible. For b4, I suppose he's got bishop e6 with tempo. b4 though protects the knight. I've played this in reverse in some positions, you know, knight a7 to support b5. So this is kind of thematic in a way. Bishop f3 might be useful against rook e8. In fact, here I take away that liability, that e2 pawn. I think this is a kind of lesser evil in a way. And although that wins a pawn straight off the bat, hit c5 though, protecting the knight. So I'm counter-attacking on c5. Thankfully, it's not a total disaster to lose f3, I believe. Maybe even getting the queens off would be good in this position. Let's see. Mind you, there's b5 there, which could be annoying. But not entirely sure about c4 after. So let's see, because I want to stop queen f3. So is b5 any good? That's the question. I think getting rid of that pawn liability, because sometimes this structural change does mean that pawn is, of course, my king safety. That is less of an issue now with the queens off. In fact, can I, like, I wonder if I can take that. Actually, no, d3. All right, let's just double here. I don't like a knight coming to d3, although it would be pinned on doubling the rooks. Maybe that wasn't a major concern. In fact, b5, c4 for d3 tactically is a bit of a concern. Yeah, I've probably got to improve this knight. Can I play like knight b4 using the pin? So b takes, knight b4, coming into d5. Then maybe knight f4. If I swap off a pair of knights, That I'm hoping the c5 is the major weakness structurally. If I can just take knight b4, knight d5, knight f4, get rid of a pair of knights, that would also weaken c5 if I took this knight off. Let's see how this works. I think rook c5, there's bishop b4 as well to force an infiltration on the c file. Okay, can I force this infiltration? I think there's... Okay, I've got c6, nothing else. This knight's still bad. He has to move the rook, though. Okay, where do I get this knight going? Try and crawl it over here? Oh, I'm not convinced about anything now. No, okay. Yeah, I'm not getting anything yet, am I? Is it better here or here? Yeah, I haven't seemed to have achieved much. It's got a 2-to-1 pawn majority, in fact. Oh no. If I took, am I necessarily losing? King f1, c2, king e2, bishop b2, and I'm losing. This is looking terrible. Let's calculate this again. Takes king f1, c2, king e2, bishop b2. It's as simple as that. That's a shame. Haven't done much in this game. I could blockade on... Maybe I could blockade on c2. Oh, this is crazy, but I'll go for it. Probably bad idea. I can't get pawn majority over here. I can get my this doesn't look clever. Got my d pawn though. Hang on. I've got a1 covered. I'll play this to try and do something. It looks remarkably bad. The position. Can I get 2 pawns? No, I can't even do that. I'll wait for a1. Oh, I'm going to be in zugzwang as well. I'm in zugzwang. I'm in zugzwang. I've been killed in this game. Whoops. Yep, I'm in zugzwang now. Black can just wait and kill me in this position. That's nice. Crikey. Oh dear. It's a question, can I draw on time? That's it. There's going to be another queen as well. Black should have finished me off in time there. Oh dear. That wasn't a very proficient start to this session. Oh dear, that was just being put in Zogsbang. That's nice. I thought, yeah, that... I had such aspirations from that position. With the c5 pawn being weak, it just turned upside down. It was like a boat that turned upside down. I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling almost guilty about the first game. I should feel guilty. Yeah, but it's chess is such a hard game. I don't know. I felt I had some control earlier and it just vanished. Okay, so here we've got another English opening, and my c4 is weak. Okay, my c4 is weak for no particular reason. There's bishop e5 here. Could be handy for knight c7. This is a good forcing sequence, I believe. Knight c7 and knight e6. There's nothing to put in the way. Oh, hang on, he's winning f3. He can play rook c7, so I've got to sort out this f3. This f3, yeah. So knight c7 is not a big deal. Is bishop c7 any good? Maybe for bishop d6. He would tempo on the rook if he did take. I don't like my weakened light squares here. Actually, I'm threatening knight c7 here, surely. Knight c7. Or knight c6. No, knight d6, trying to win the exchange. It's not the end of the story because I've got weaknesses everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but the light squares are not particularly great. Yeah, knight g5, dangerous. Is there any other way to get to the light squares? If I played h4, it looks as though h4 could be useful. Just to stop knight g5. Under like rook d4, if e5, rook d5. On rook d4, if I double knight c3, queen c2. Alright, so knight c3, trying to win back the exchange. If I play queen c2 here, I'm wondering knight c3, rook d4, knight a c3, rook d4. That gives me f3 as a threat now. Now knight g3, queen c3 has knight e2 check. What about king f2 there? I can play the other one to e2, so I'm just weakening my king for no good reason. Okay. Okay. Alright, okay. It's tactical today, isn't it? Okay, so what about rook d3? What about trying to get a rook to the 7th and the queen on this diagonal? Just hit g7. Oh, this is simple, isn't it? I can just take here. I mean simple, I mean clear, I mean clarity. At last. Alright, so g7 seems vulnerable to knight h5 here. Is it worth playing queen? It was probably worth playing queen e5 to stop e5. Well, it doesn't matter now. Knight h5, rook d7, queen c8. Queen's far away from protecting the king. Alright, thanks for the game. Okay, next challenge, Simba. Okay. Playing a French defense. I think we have knight c6, maybe. Surprise weapon. Okay. So this line e takes or knight e4. Knight e4 might be possible. Knight takes, pawn takes. I think it's okay. I've had this before over the board recently, actually. This bishop, dark square bishop, grabbing the dark square bishop is, I hope, like handy. I've played this sort of move before as well, with the dark square bishop. Just wondering about the knight on c3. The d4 is slightly more vulnerable. The h file could be dynamic, quite dynamic here. If that was taken, it's a curious position. Alright, I'm gonna actually probably keep this and play for c5. I think I need to maneuver here to play for c5. Maybe even the night before grab the light square bishop. I think that was my regret for my over the board recently. I didn't grab the light square bishop, which was dangerous. He's letting me do this. I'll grab both bishops. I know it's French defense territory and it shouldn't be such a big deal. The bishop pair, and that d4 is quite good. But can it be that bad? The d4 knight, can it be that horrific to have a d4 knight for black? Oh, I've got the bishop pair now. Semi-closed unknown territory. Bishop b5 coming up. Is there any big dangers if I did castle kingside? Knight f4, knight h5. And the bishop c6 for c4 if he ever took. Okay, this d4 knight business, is it all that? Right, if I castle here, maybe f6, just trying to focus on f2 here. That's a good dark square soft spot, so the counterpart is missing of the dark square bishop, so I'm hoping his dark square is more vulnerable. Rook c4, I think there's bishop b5. No, there isn't. You can take that. Alright, I gotta get out of this pin. Which way? There's I've got to be careful. Actually, I'm not sure I like that. I'll put the bishop just here for a moment. Oh, it looks silly to do this. There's things like knight f5 if I don't move the bishop out of the way. And then he could take on d7. He's kind of, potentially, this should backfire in theory, opening up the position like that for my bishop pair. Queen e7, rook c7. If I try and hold c7 for a moment. Oh, knight e6. I've just run into knight e6, haven't I? Yep. Muppets. Knight e6. I could take here 2 pieces for the queen. With the bishop pair. Might not be entirely terrible. Maybe rook d5, I could double. His knight's tied down a bit. Queen h6 threatened. There's bishop d3 here, queen h6. I'm worried about knight g5. Okay. Do I get time to try and defend this? Maybe with bishop f2 first after knight g5. hg, rook g5. Bishop f2 first. There's also rook d1, bishop f2 idea. No, I got to keep g7 defended. So bishop d3, queen moves somewhere. Right, now he's off g7. Maybe it's worth it. It's bishop g1, a defensive idea. In some lines, queen e7, rook g8. Knight moves bishop g1, king moves rook d3. Alright, so it's getting scary. I'm wondering knight g5. Oh, bishop c6. I don't think there's rook h6 at the moment. If I play this, right, rook h6 here. Got that bishop e3. That gives me bishop h6 and bishop f4. On bishop f4, g3, bishop f3 mates on h1. So bishop f4 threat. So defensive and counter-attack, but bishop f4. I can still introduce bishop f4 here. Queen e7, bishop f4. g3. It's too slow. Oh, alright. There's rook d7, or bishop f2, or king h7. He's not on the light square yet. I'm hoping there's no rook h6, no knight g5. Oh, there was a knight g5. Alright, hold the light squares. No, not like that. Maybe f5. Hold f5 at least. Rook f2 would be good, rook g4. Oh, rook h6 is probably threatened some lines. If I play for rook h5 as a defense, or rook h6, okay, can I do this? Is it terrible? I'm sort of, I'm hoping a fortress of some sort. It's not going to last too long, or is it? Well, they're protecting each other, which is good news. Oh, okay. That was a bit difficult to defend. My pre-move stopped working. I have to moan about that. My pre-move arrows is killing all my pre-moves in the end. Okay, it was a fun one. Thanks. Okay, let's try and keep solid approach in the opening here. Nothing fancy. Maybe h6 would be good, sort of reverse London system. Knight to c5, like maybe d3's vulnerable. So this is a 3-minute game, faster pace. I'll use c6, why not? Okay, I'll try and leave a weakness on e5. Or get into the d3 square via c5, knight d7 to c5. Oh, that's not happening, okay. Can I play for some sort of minority attack or queen c4? This a4 is a bit vulnerable. If I play queen c4, I suppose he's going to stop it with knight e3. Oh, hang on. Yeah, he could take b7, but rook b8, rook b2. Okay, still this position, rook c4 maybe, rook a1, it's no big deal. Alright, I'm going to move my knight d6, c4. Maybe I'll play for b5 here. I can play for b5, try and do something on the queen side. Okay, go away. That's good for a4 anyway. As long as f5 is not a problem. Take on a4 here, nick that pawn. Get the bishops off. Or just stop. Hang on, let's secure that for knight f5 to be possible. Okay. Get the rooks off here on f5. I wouldn't mind that. Oh, did I give him something I didn't really need to? Maybe b4 anyway. Open up the bishop. Okay, if I double here, there's f5. Can I hold on against f5? Play takes, hold the rook. Got bad bishop. Is a3 possible on rook b1, or is rook a3, rook a3? There's takes, there's rook b2. A3 here, rook b2. How's my back row? Don't have to worry about the back row too much. Maybe a8's covered anyway. It's a bit tied down. Is that good enough for anything? e5? Maybe e5 round about here. Is knight d6 doing anything? I can probably hold e6 with bishop e6. The check, or yeah, is g4 weak? Hang on, g4's weak. We can take this knight. That ending looks good, or hold the bishop against tactics, naughty tactics. Rook d4. Right, fun one. 3 minute, very fast pace. Okay. Kramnik student. Probably try knight c6. It's one of my favourites in bullet chess, at least. Knight's tango. Can I play knight g4 plan? So queen h4, knight f4. Rook h6, rook g6, that sort of thing. I've had tons of wins in bullet in this. I think it is a reasonably good position, fundamentally anyway. So knight f4, rook h6 to g6. I'll move the rook soon though. So knight to tango, or I think it was some other name. Is the knight f2 not yet? Well, there's knight f4 here. Maybe I want to play knight f4 anyway. So rook h6 to g6. This looks very dangerous for white's king safety. I don't mind a knight on e5. Threatens f3. That looks very damaging to white's king safety. f3 if takes queen h3. Bishop e2. Knight g4 there. That looks dangerous, f3. I suppose I should move my king away in theory, but I could do with it extra time for the attack with f3. Okay, this rook could be handy as well, but at the moment, okay, stop any rook g6 ideas. If he plays f3, okay, I have to unpin for f3, because otherwise queen f3. Let's get this rook back. So f3 here. Is he sacking the exchange or something? You could sack the exchange, that could be annoying. No, I should have factored that in actually. Yeah, okay. Alright, he hasn't. What am I actually threatened with here? If I play rook e8 against queen b7 for a moment. So the knight's, I don't know if that's alright. Let's play for, well, knight f3 potentially, or just f5 or h4, rook h5, rook g5 plan on the rook here. I don't think I've got a concrete threat actually at the moment. Might not have. h4, queen f4, rook h5 to g5. I've got various forcing moves, knight f3, queen c1, various outrageous ones to just keep checking out. But h4, queen f4, rook h5 to g5, bring this rook into the attack. Anyway, what is he doing about this pawn? His pawns are fractured here as well. On queen b7, knight f3 check. Taking on e1 with the knight maybe. Now here, knight f3 check, I can take on c1 there. Doesn't actually give me anything. Knight f3, king f1, knight d2 is winning the queen, king h1. I could play h4 against, well, why not just take this pawn? And this, he hasn't got even f4. I just want to bring this rook into the attack. And protects d6 anyway. So knight f3. There's queen b1 here. King h2. Queen e1. What's taking on b2? Gives me f2 attack. I think I can take and then take on f2. I don't want to weaken d6. Let's hold that d6 for a moment. I want to take on f2 without dropping d6. And so take f2 here gives me knight f3 potentially. Knight f3 here wins the exchange, I think, in the house. Well, except he's got queen d6 after. That's a pain. If I played king g8 first, it'd be more effective for knight f3 without queen d6 check. What is on this rook now? Okay, let's defend again. Knight f3 ruled out. If I play this, and I ruled up rook g8. Rook g8. Looks good. Nice pin. Queen's away from the king, rook's away from the king, spectator pieces, irrelevant pawn. What does he do about g2? I'll play rook g2, there's queen b2, rook g2. This looks bad. I don't think there's any defense. Right, thanks for the game there. Okay. Phenomenon. Yeah, the knight's tango is pretty dangerous. I think I'll stick with that for a bit because it's kind of this comfort zone, even if it's not technically the most amazing opening in existence. But we've got standard classical stuff now. Can I play this? I play for bishop h3 sack. We'll defend with king h2, I guess. Otherwise this might be good fun. Bishop h3. Alright, okay. I think it's good fun because knight g5, there's queen g3 there, check, and knight g4 after. Yeah, I think king h2 was... I was just testing for king h2. This is looking ideal for that bishop pointing at f2. So queen g4, or just knight g4, or just bishop g4. Queen g4, there's king h2. Knight g4 might be more interesting. Say rook e2, f5. Bringing the rook into the attack with f5. That looks mega dangerous. I can take here and queen g4, king h2 again. Or do I just want to play f5? It looks very tempting to play knight takes e3. I don't know. I'll play like this. It does fracture the pawn somewhat. There's f4, d4, bishop moves back. It looks dangerous. So play here. f4, okay, drops back. F takes, maybe takes here, hitting the knight. There's a check here to factor in. Right, I'll take it here, just open up the f file. There's also rook f1 if white's not careful. Winning the queen, knight h2. Right, there's queen f5 for, that looks dangerous. This looks as though I could liberate the bishop one day. But queen f5 immediately. Or d5, maybe d5 here. And sort of treble on the f file, punting at queen f1 later. So if I just treble, maybe there's rook g6 as well to think about. So rook f6, okay, this one. Alright, I go here. Or do I take on f2? If I just take on f2, the check after, king e2, maybe I should leave the queens on. Or is he taking over that file? Is he taking over the file? Rook f6, queen f2. If I move the... No, he's not. He hasn't got rook f1. So my bishop's on f1. So I think I'll just play queen g6. Given that there's no rook f1, I'll play rook f8. I'm on g3 there. Still, does he play queen e1? In this position, queen h4, queen f5 threatens queen f2, protects the bishop. g4 though, g4. Whoa. Have I just messed up? g4 protects f2, ouch. Ouch. Oh no. Alright. There's bishop d4 here anyway. Breakthrough, maybe with... I don't consider white's king safety very good there after bishop d4. Even though white's 2 knights up. I think 1 knight drops anyway. Let him take on h3. Bishop d4, queen d4, queen d2. So what? I've got 2 connected pass pawns in the centre against the knight, which is not doing anything. Oh, this bishop needed some liberation anyway. Okay, so okay, maybe c5, liberate this bishop. He didn't go for that. Yeah, it was tempting. Okay, so c5. I want to liberate this bishop. Do I need to play h5 to get this bishop out, or g5? Knight g3 coming up. Let's try and do something with this bishop for a moment. Was rook f2 for bishop g2. King g1, rook b2. Protect the bishop with a discovered check here. That's checkmate. Okay, thanks for the game. Anyone? Kaz. Yeah, I'm going to play Knight's Tango this session. Okay, I'll change the plan to d6. There's another plan to get this bishop out and then play like French defense, which I was checking out with some of my online students actually to play this. He was interested in playing this Knight's Tango system, but we needed a plan against this. Knight f3, this is a reasonable plan for e6 and d5 later. I think it's called the Wade variation, as in Bob Wade. So bishop g4, idea e6, d5, kind of a French defense with the bishop outside of the pawn chain. That's the idea anyway. I don't know how brilliant it is. In this particular position. And we've got some sort of exchange French. Great. If I take on e2 or bishop e6, maybe bishop e6. If I have the double pawns, maybe I can play c5 later. I don't feel I should be that much worse off from this opening. So it takes on c6 and I play for c5. if he doesn't take on c6, maybe I'll take on e5, or I drop d5, do I? Knight d7, end up dropping d5. If I play for c5, I play knight b4 and c5. So a3, knight a6. I just want to maybe play for c5, because actually what's holding white's centre here, the knight might be misplaced if there's no c3 immediately after c5. This might be good for attacking d4 here. Okay. Change of plan then. Knight c7, knight e8 to d6, maybe to c4 later. Maybe something like queen. Okay, let's get rid of this knight from the firing line. In fact, didn't he have knight takes c6 there for bishop a6? The knight was in the firing line there. There's b5 here if he's not careful. Takes on b5. Knight takes b5. Alright, I think I can just take in on b5, or just b5 immediately. Which is better? I can keep my light square bishop. Mind you, there's knight e5 for c6. If I take this, then there's no, less hassle maybe. Although e7's exposed. Yeah, for example, queen e2, for example. Bishop d6. Oh, okay, let's see. This must be a safe way of picking out a piece. I mean, it's tempting anyway. b5, queen e2, bishop d6. Okay, so bishop d6. Anything there? I can't see it. If there's anything here, I can't see it after queen e2, bishop d6. Knight c5. Oh, the knight b7 maybe. Okay. Thanks for the game, Kaz. Was all missed? Yeah, this night's tango session. Okay. We're getting into just classic Italian game now. Okay, it's an excuse to play classical everything all the time. If it's good enough for the World Chess Championship, the Italian game is good enough for Banter Blitz. Let's see, it's not going to run into bishop h3. I need to test this. No. It's not. Let's give up on that plan before it even is formed here. If I play h6, is that terrible? Just to stop the pin in advance? So my bishop's stuck over here. And get this knight to f4. Or peel open that e5 square. I can plonk another knight later on. Can I do this tactically? g6, I wonder. Something like knight e6 to f4. That position. If he took, I get the e5 square and dislodge the g3 knight. and take away the e3 square from the knight if it goes to f1. Queen f1's awkward, but there is knight g2 check if the queen doesn't protect f1. So if he takes knight f1, this position, stumbling knight, maybe I should, I don't think, yeah, what do I think about this? Maybe just bishop c6 for a moment. Although e5, maybe castle, in fact. The rooks are not connected. Let's use this one for d5, potentially. And there's also bishop c6 if needed. Oh, he's not castling. So d5 is plausible. What would taking achieve exactly on e4? Maybe it's just a target. Actually, can I not just win e4? Funny enough. Why can't I just take e4? So I'm threatening knight g3 potentially. Bishop c6 or knight d2. Maybe bishop c6 is more fun. In fact, there's things like bishop f2 here. If he plays knight e4 bishop, he plays here. What do I want to do here? It looks really good. Can I play queen f6, actually? Which would give me knight g3 to win the queen. Knight e4, rook e4, 2 bits for the queen. Don't mind. But knight g3 is threatened here to win the queen for 2 bits. You can play queen f5 for knight g3 here. It looks tempting to play for this. Here, knight g3 for queen d3. I'm still wondering about f2. Right, there's now bishop d3 introduced in this position. He did extinguish the f2 stuff. Queen moves bishop d3. Does it actually give anything? There's bishop f3, queen f3, rook e1, king e1, queen b1. That wins the rook over there. Maybe that's good. Just to take on f3. Oh, queen b1 potentially. Okay. Okay. Queen c5. Crude on f2. Alright. Okay. Let's not lose too much time here. Oh, queen g6 threatened. I'll defend again. Also queen f3. Oh, bishop f7 is potentially on queen f3 for queen g6. This position, bishop f7, rook e1, king e1. Yeah, I don't like g6 being a vulnerability. I think, okay, I'd rather have an attacking position here than risk any bishop sack. Right, the light squares are weak. Now he could shuffle queen and bishop battery on h7. I'll take on e1 first. I think playing it safe. It looks safe to do this. Oh god. It seems to have a lot of... yeah. And queen e5. Queen f5 for queen h3. Rook e1, king h2. Right. There's queen b1 there. Hold on a sec. It's got rook f4. I don't think that matters. There's no other major checks. I mean, queen f4, rook h1, and I take the queen after. Right, there's queen f5 here. I'll bring the king out. There's rook h4, mate. Oh, that's tense. My king was being probed there. I didn't like that. White's position had some attack in it. Didn't like that. Thanks. I'm playing the English opening strategic in nature. It's more easy to explain ideas, strategic ideas, if I play the English opening. And it's pretty safe opening anyway. English opening. Yeah, I was presented with quite a few threats there on my own king. I didn't estimate that earlier. Can I play? This is a topical line. e4. There's a sharp stuff with d5. To open up this diagonal for later for fianchetto the bishop. So bishop b2. Do I keep the bind for a moment against b5? Right, now how to play this? Maybe king h2 just away from the diagonal if I want to play f4. Trying to put some pressure on d5 for the bind. I mean, f4 on knight d7 with knight d5 to consider. Okay, he's taking away my battery. He can go even for queen b4, can he? Knight d5. No, queen b4, knight d5. Well, there's knight takes d5 holding the queen. He takes, queen takes b3 even. Alright. Start spicing things up with f4 or not. g4. Trying to get control of d5 as well as some sort of hack attack. Okay, queen d4 for knight d5. He's got e5. If I move the king away from here, waiting for d5, I could take and then e5. Just wait for d5 for taking an e5. Am I giving him too much? Is that just a pawn sack? Hang on. If I take with the knight just to open up the bishop in advance. I've still got queen d4 coming up. But his knight's protecting g7. I'm wondering about this position. Is there any significance of it? Any downside to that? Queen d4. There would be if I could get rid of the knight, which I can't at the moment. f5, f6 seems tempting. So he's got bishop b4. Still, get the queen over here. Alright, it's queen d4 to put the knight back. Yeah, let's put the knight back for a moment. And then maybe g6 or f6. Which is better, g6 or f6? Oh. Oh, I was trying to get the knight back for f6 or g6. Thanks to the game, MGTOW. Chassis. Okay. Chassis around. Coffee time. Coffee time. Yes, we're going to have endless English openings today and nice tangos. I just feel it's a day of English openings and nice tangos. I mean, it wasn't such a difficult plan when I was using in that game. Okay, the bind's on d4, so I'll play it with d3 for a moment. And just play for b4, a3, b4. Okay, I get the idea. My opponent wants to avoid me having any strategic breaks which could liberate my position, but okay. We'll get this locked in position. Bishop e3, f4, f5. I'll try and take it from there. What would I do? I think I want to give my queen f2 here. So knight e2, queen e2, knight d4, queen f2. So I can play bishop e3, knight e2, same sort of thing. A park on f2 hits c5 sometimes. Maybe also g4 is interesting, even if f5 happens. G takes. g4, f5. G takes. Let's test this. Would he give the g file? Because then, if he takes with the e pawn, I have d5 square. If he takes with the g pawn, I can rustle up something on the king side with knight g3 to h5. I think. Alright, this d5, he's giving me d5 instead. I can still play this. Keep some tension in the game. So knight d5. Knight d5 facilitates actually b4. Having a knight on d5 means b4 becomes possible. And the point of that would be maybe to leave a backward pawn on b7 sometimes. So knight d5 for b4. I don't think he wants to give the light square bishop here. That would weaken f5 if he gave up the light square bishop. Okay, so I'm wondering. Okay, I'll keep solid here for a moment. Trying to keep my d5 outpost. E takes, g takes, knight h5, but there's knight f5 to consider as well. Keep this queenside locked. Or does he play knight b4? Is he giving me a backward pawn to think about? Okay. I think there's a contour here of this g file, like e takes and knight h5, or the g file in general, if I shuffle soon. Although b3 is weak, Let's try this G file. I think could be interesting. Alright, okay, this weakens his light squares. E5 takes bishop E5. Alright, if I take on D4 first, take on F5, bishop F5, knight F5, rook F5, bishop H3. There's bishop E6 there. Yeah, I think I could weaken his light squares. Or get this G file, but he controls G1 with the bishop. So E takes, on G takes, well, on G takes, well, let's see the light square attack. There's no rook D5, rook E6, bishop E6, winning D5. Maybe queen G4, F5, or bishop E6 first, F5. Bishop E6, king moves somewhere. Either F5 or maybe queen G4. Queen G4 for F5 might be better. Okay, so I'm wondering in this position, do I need to play F5? This is G5 and then what? Maybe rook F3 there to H3. Oh, I guess. There's no rook G1. My B3 pawn is weak. Why would he do that? What's the idea? Oh, my H2 is vulnerable. No, I don't like the idea of my H2 being exposed. Also, I'm worse here, my B3's bad. I can't use G1. This is not good. My bishop's kind of stuck on E6. It's a miserable position at the moment. B3's dropping off at some point as well. Oh, that's interesting. I might have rook G4 sometimes. If I double rook G4, here rook G4. G4 doesn't quite cut it at the moment. It would do if rook B3, rook G4, maybe. Maybe F6. Just to open up the light squares a bit. Or queen E1 for A5, go around here. Bounce off A5. There's a target on F7. Queen C7 to F7. This is getting critical. Alright. Okay, thanks for the game. That was intense. I was getting outplayed. Mrazzo, 1985. So we've got a 3-minute game here. I'll play this gambit system I've got against this. I want once played in an IM non-tournament, and my only decent draw against some 24-40 was in this gambit system, and it's scored interesting. I've had some interesting games. I'm going to take my pawn back, in fact. It's not a gambit even. No. Queen d2, rook ad1. Queen d2, rook ad1. Queen e2. Or maybe even g4. g4, h4. You know what? g4, h4, g5 looks fun. Except b5, b4, my center could collapse. So maybe more to the point is f5, or just hold b5 for a moment. If c5, d5, right, okay, he's giving me a bit of time for this now, I hope. It's like h4, g5, so I don't have to use my f pawn. If I can use my h pawn, then f5 after that, that would be fun. So h4, g5, yes, all without b5 being problem at the moment. So g5, so I want to use my h pawn. I've got an array of pawns here, impressive array of pawns. So g5 takes, knight moves, f5 takes, then what? It looks squishy to play this, as if black's getting squished. Maybe queen h5, g6, or queen h5, g6, queen h6 is bishop f8. And kick this queen out for a moment. Does it go to d3 to be really annoying? And queen e3 does knight c2. That's somewhat annoying. Rook f3, bishop g5, rook h3. Oh, I dropped the bishop on f4. Slight snag. Let's unpin here. And there's no knight d3 at the moment. Okay, so bishop g5, rook h3 works better now without dropping f4. You can still do this. There's rook h4 here. Okay, is there queen e3? Nope. That's unfortunate. I'm dropping things. Things are dropping off. It shouldn't have worked out like this. Okay, but anyway. Knight f6. Let's go for knight f6. Looks fun. Let's take pawn for a laugh. This H file, King G2 rook 8. I've had the H file. Stop the entry points. Yeah, tense. Yeah, I'm slipping up there. Thanks. Okay, shilling forward. I'm really with a Knight's Tango. It's a surprise weapon of choice. Is he ready? I might schedule for Saturday, you know, next week. I'm not sure about Christmas Day because there's. I like playing chess. I'm not sure it can be considered work. I don't know if it's like work or play, and but I might do it Saturday instead of Sunday because Christmas Day is a bit. There's great stuff on the TV. I don't know how many of you are around even. Yeah, and I don't believe I should as a yeah, I think I should respect. I'm Greek Orthodox, so that's a branch of Christianity, by the way. So I think I'm not going to be doing anything on Christmas Day. Although it doesn't feel like work. I'm not saying it's like work. Knight h5, bishop e5. Can I play like h5 here? I think I've seen Spillman play a game like this. Are there any streamers on Christmas Day usually? Sorry, what happens usually on Christmas Day? Can someone let me know? He's on f7 here. All right. So there's a problem here. If I play bishop g4, I think I've got the wrong position for this idea, if it was an idea. But anyway, aside from that, I can try and castle queenside, making use of this is doubtful actually. I think I'm falling to bits, but anyway, okay, it's doubtful. Mind you, king e7 here. I'm not immediately getting mated. And there still might be h4 lurking around. So he wins a5. I'll play h4. hg. Is it so terrible? Or is he waiting for queen f7 on that diagonal? I've always got queen f8. I would take the knight. Go and take the knight. Is he aiming for queen f7? Bishop g8, queen f8. Knight e6, queen g8. The bishop remains trapped. We've got a fascinating position anyway. Queen f8 here, just to defend f7. Oh, he's on e6. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, that's a downer. If I play d5 here first. He's always got d6 check after. It takes knight g4, d6, king d8. There's knight e6 check. Let's improve on that. No, can't improve on that. King d7, there's queen e6. Can't block d6. Let's run this through again. There's Queen G8 here. Maybe. Anything else springs to mind? Not really. It's Queen A5. There's Bishop B6. Oh, let's check the C5 we can take on B6. C5 instead. Here I lose my queen to Bishop D6. Rook H5, Queen C7. Alright, I'll try this. There's check, C5, Queen B6. What about King D7 there? This position, King D7. If takes Queen G5 maybe. As long as I'm not getting immediately mated, it's less embarrassing. What's the threat? If I play Rook F8 just to get some more attack in inverted commas. On F2. Alright, my king can crawl back to C8 here. Can it? On E6, King C8. There's Queen D5 as well for G2. I guess there's Queen E4. Gonna do this. Knight E5 might be interesting. Or rook takes for knight F2. That gives me knight E4 check. At least my king didn't get mated. Why didn't I take on F2 in any case? As rook takes for rook G4, knight C5 after. Knight C5 there. Oh. Knight E6. There's always knight G5 on F5. I can sort out my king here. The check. I shouldn't have allowed that. Okay. Is the check doing anything? No. Rook G2 might have been handy. Oh, no. messed this up. I think I was okay earlier at some point. Yeah. It's gone. Go Brazil, mate. Don't think that's happening. Yeah. Oh, I think I overcook things with rook f4. I was back in the game here. This position I thought was okay, but it is critical to avoid getting mated on d8. Just moving the rook to back row, I think. Yeah, well played. I think, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Alright, okay. It was too double-edged that last game. I should have lost anyway. With the knight g5 was good. I forgot about knight g5, so it was losing black, I assume. Earlier on, I was just given a chance later, but it was originally losing for black. So well played, Shenningford. I have to say, well played, well played, well played. I'm just momentarily, yeah. I think I. Okay, let's get back to this game. Try and cover the f5 square. Right, this f file could be good. If I castle rook f7, just double the rooks. I'm hoping my weaknesses are not too bad here. King g7, rook f7, just double the rooks. Maybe queen g7. Trying to hold on to e5. Knight h5 to f4. Knight h5 to f4. Looks like something. Just using that. It looks like logical to use this semi-up and file that outpost square f4. Looks tempting. So knight f4, if I... Okay, I'll take her. It undoubles the pawns. So knight f4 and then double the rooks. Okay, what's that? Knight ce1, so I'm going to play this. And double the rooks, maybe knight h3 after, or knight g2. Knight g2, or g4, just g4. Alright, this is giving me the do I want the e5 square or the g5? Interesting decision point. I think I'll take the e5 square. Although there's always knight h4 going into f5. I wonder. It could do that. This gives me f3 with a dangerous attack, surely. I can... Those light squares look appetizing. Oh, that is winning the exchange, is it? Although knight f3 is very dangerous. If I can play without my queen getting attacked, say g8, instead of queen g6, knight f hits the queen. But if I play here, knight f8, knight f3, rook f3 takes, well, I at least get my exchange back. If he took here, queen g2, king 1, queen g1 mate. So knight f3 here, rook f3 takes, and then take the knight. Or, am I worried for nothing? Just gets my exchange back. What if I just keep this position for a moment? Because the knight's really good on e5. So here I can play for knight f3 without rook f3. So taking queen g2, king 1, queen g1 mate. So knight f3 is threatened, I think, winning the queen. Knight f3. Okay, so what does he do? Queen f6. Oh, he's going straight into this. Yeah. It's unfortunate the queen's actually a self-mate position on queen g1. Queen's actually part of the mating there. Okay, thanks for the game. So Alex, for the win, I guess. Coricon. Let's try and play solid, actually, for an off. Panov bot-winning attack, rather than trying to make it an Albin counter-gambit. A bad version of the Albin counter-gambit. G6, bishop g7, knight e4 later. I've seen this sort of thing before. So I'll play for knight e4. White's kind of released the tension in the centre a little bit. Actually, it's making knight e4 seem a bit more effective. I want to taking knight e5 is on c6, queen d5 there. I would have, okay, I'll play f6 now. Maybe, okay, bishop f7, g5, that sort of thing. Or bishop f5 here. It looks more solid to play bishop f5 without losing a pawn. So g5 or taking on c3 or taking on d2. Which way? Oh, that's curious. If I take on c3, I could play e5. Yes. This looks tempting. Okay, if he's going to take on e4, I have to blow his centre a bit with e5 here. Right. I don't know exactly what this does. Let's see. Okay, now I can think about this. I think this aggressive pawn chain is tempting, just to have e4 here. And follow with bishop e6, f5. He gets bishop f4 in with dark square grip. Okay, let's put the bishop on g6 instead. And then maybe h6, f5, f4. h6, f5, f4. Don't need to worry about playing f5 immediately. Bishops, queen's protecting. f4 on the cards here. Knight h5, bishop h8, queen h. Well, there's no queen h5. There's no knight h5. Well, there is knight h5, bishop h8. On f3 or f4. On f4, I think I take, and then f4. So this looks menacing. f4 looks menacing to me. And not only that, d4 is kind of vulnerable at the moment. So I think this has been a success, this opening, because I don't think white needs to be careful about the c5 stuff. This sort of position doesn't seem happy for white. Right, so f4. Looks good to play f4 here. And queen e8 might be better to trap the knight. g4, f4, and d4 drops. So g4, f4, d4 drops. I could take that there's knight g3. I think I'd rather have this. That gives me f3 and bishop d4. f3 looks like, well, it all looks fun here. Where would his queen go? Why can't I just, if I take the centre pawn for a moment? If I go back and then to e5 and then f3. Is f3 actually needed? Maybe I take on h5 and then f3. Yeah, I'm going to take this. Okay, so c6. I'll protect this c6. Maybe queen e6. That gives me f3, queen g4, or queen h3. As long as he's got f1, he's not getting mated immediately. But so f3 coming up here. I'm threatening now queen g4, queen g2. Right. So queen h4, rook g1. Maybe rook f4 first. He's got b5 on the cards. Do I need to worry? Maybe. possible. I mean, let's hold against rook g1 for a moment. Am I doing something really dumb here? Have I already done something really dumb? Instead of trying to mate him. Should I try to mate him? I get overrun by his pawns if I took rook b7, rook b1, d4, a4, e3. Surely my pawns count. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was a bit concerned that that was great. Okay. Lord Iffy, a bit like my games at the moment. Iffy. Okay. So we'll play this knight's tango as a pre-move. Right, there's been 19 challenges today. Thank you for your interest, guys, in crushing Kingscrusher. Well done to Shilling Ford so far. I've got my mascots out today. I hope it's okay to have my cat and dog as mascots today, just to boost my sense of comfort zone. Anyone notice? Anyone notice? No one's mentioned it. Cat and dog, good addition, or not? Too non-serious. And it should be more sterile. No, no one knows. Is it just my imagination? Maybe I'm the only one seeing them. Okay, so okay. Lord Iffy's not around. I'm gonna abort this. Doesn't seem to be around. He's around, so that's good. That's good. Nothing much to say at the moment, except, well, the knight's tango is in progress, but without f4. I'll play maybe e5, bishop e7, and castle. He might take en passant, I guess. I think I still want to weaken white on the dark squares later. Let's play this. He might take en passant again. And if he doesn't here, I'm looking forward to, well, I'm looking forward to the b file here anyway. His king on c1 might be precarious, so I'll take g5 seriously in advance. Can I take this guy off? I just want to weaken white on the dark squares. Although I'm wondering after that if this was a way of getting mated as well. Okay, it's either a way of weakening white on the dark squares or a way of getting mated. No, what am I doing? Hang on. If his queen comes to h5, I'm dead. I think I've got to take this attack seriously, otherwise it will be too late. Yes, it might be too late now. Defend h7, take on g5. Just ask for it a bit more. On G and H files. There's F3 threatens. Okay, parried. Knight F6 to hold E4 square. I'd rather be attacking than have this position. If I was attacking instead, it would be more fun. Bishop E6, Rook C6. Sorry, Bishop E6, Bishop C6. Bishop E6, Bishop C6, Rook C8. Would he really take on C6? Queen H6 on Rook G1. Maybe here it's weaken these dark squares. I don't like this. I think I've been over optimistic around gobbling the H pawn. You shouldn't really do that, gobble the H pawns. Is Bishop G6 going to be winning? I hope not. I'm looking forward to Queen A1 and Rook D6 here. He plays King B1. You know, maybe I should have... No. Alright, what's the threat? What's the threat? Alright, I'll go with check. It's Queen D4, Queen E3, and he goes, no, Bishop G6 is going to be absolutely crushing. Not necessarily. There's Bishop C4 takes Rook D1, King G2, Rook D2. Well, there might be some fun to be had after Queen D4, Bishop G6. Might calculate this. Queen E3, King F1, Bishop C4 takes Rook D1, King G2, Rook D2. If the king moves there, I'll take this guy at some point. This was a completely unnecessary way of playing the position. Let's just go back to E5 instead to hold F4. Alright, this position, it's got Queen F4, that's the problem. It holds D2. And E3, just Queen F4. Is that Rook D8 there? Alright, he's giving me this, he's giving me F3. I think just Queen F4 there was interesting. When I say interesting, I mean winning for white. Probably. So Queen F3 picks up the rook here. This might be, no, it doesn't. Is bishop g4 any good? Try and stop any attack. Rook g4, queen g4. Yeah, let's try and stop the attacks for a moment. I'm playing this like a ZX Spectrum from 1980s, winning material, trying to not be mated. A ZX Spectrum with a plastic rubbery keyboard. Okay, so apart from that, so Queen E3 and just I don't know. Okay. Alright, this wasn't the most problematic, I think. Well, I get a quadrant of pawns here after g5, but maybe king g7 first. Okay, thanks for the game. There's still a large number of challenges. We're 2 hours in, and I mean, there's still quite a few pending challenges. We're 2 hours in with a lot of pending challenges, yeah. So I'm playing the English opening today with white. I think it's more to talk about positionally, the English opening, like pawn breaks, and pawns are the soul of chess. So if it wasn't for pawns, it would be a lot more tactical. Now, last week I felt like crying and running away at one point, but then I regretted saying, oh, it's going to be my last game, please don't beat me up anymore. But then I felt bad because, you know, some of you actually left after that. So I'll try and increase my pain thresholds, just to try and get through the full list of challenges. But I'm not in complete agony today. At the moment, I mean, it could change with 1 or 2, you know, games. So okay, let's see. Bishop b2, c5. Anyway, you can be a world champion and still be smashed. Take Topalov in the classic. And I hate losing on one-day games actually, because there's like hours of travel either way. I've played in classic in past years. It's like hours of traveling as well. So it's like the whole thing seems sometimes a pointless waste of time and energy. I don't know if any of you have tried the one-day FIDE rated games, but it's like, you know, I like online chess. It's more fun. Of course, it's got its issues. Okay, so knight f5. But for me to even get to London Classic is like a 2-hour journey, train journey. I hate the underground. So rook fd1 as knight c4, and if I played rook f6 there with the idea of knight e4, I don't want him taking my bishop out. So can I preserve my bishop with bishop a1, or just rook f6 immediately and knight e4? Yeah, looks like a thematic sort of sack to rupture king safety here. So like, you know, knight f6 is a nice discovered check coming up, winning the rook. I like this dark square bishop as well, fundamentally. And seesaw checks. There's knight g4 or knight d7 just wins the queen. Thanks for the game, Don. So we've got another English opening, funny enough, because I'm playing c4. We could have thematic weeks if you want me to play certain openings. Just tell me the openings you want me to play, and I'll try and play them. I don't mind. As long as they're not completely losing for me, your suggestions, I'll play. I'll even play the Grob. I mean, the Grob, I once heard an audiobook by Mike Basman on the Grob, and I feel better prepared than a lot of people now. If g4, it's got some positional ideas, a bit like the English opening on d5. Okay, so I'm not doing anything here, am I? Oh dear. This doesn't look entirely good so far. Does it? I don't think I've got an advantage. I think I've got disadvantages. Quicker to the C file. Ominous. Quicker to the C file. Uh-huh. This doesn't bode well at the moment to me. Actually, I can't even take that way because I'll lose the exchange. No, I'm under pressure here. I'll do this. We can take bishop e2. Uh-oh, bishop e2, I've just noticed. In which case, I'm losing all my pawns. Okay. I mean, taking a bishop e2, yeah, I'm getting stuffed here like Turkey, yeah, I'm getting completely stuffed at the moment, it seems. Wait. Why didn't I play e takes when I had the chance? Rook a2, rook c1. Is that terrible? I mean, I'm hoping it isn't. If he pushes my queen to e2, maybe there's even e5 one day. I'll hold that. Bishop's holding a5 anyway. Maybe bishop b4 would be good. Sort of mirroring his bishop b5 the other way. So d6 underscrewed. It's e5 takes, bishop takes, f takes. My centre's flooding through. But he would have e takes there on the rook. So maybe queen e2 first. Just in case. Or maybe rook e2 might be even more sensible. Or queen e1 holds the bishop on b4. Takes. I don't know. Oh, I guess I'll try that. e5 takes. The problem is, bishop takes, he's got e takes. Let's do nothing for a moment. I don't know, how can I solve that problem? d4 here. Bishop g7, bishop d6. That's holding f4. And the good news is there's no entry on c2 now. e5 takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes now. Anyway, this is... Does he really do this? Okay, let's check it. I'm hoping I've got something here with the queen on f4. Maybe... Okay, takes, d6 for bishop d5. d6, okay, it hasn't been an issue. I thought, yeah, that was what I was concerned about. Now here, if I've got the two connected pawns in the center, e6, queen f4, I might be rolling him in the center. e6, bishop e8, d6, and following that, bishop d5, e7. So e6, bishop e8, d6, to be followed by bishop d5 and e7. Okay, I think e6 is the start here. There's also queen d4 now. I'm hoping f4's not doing anything. Well, there's pin. Rook h1, there's bishop h1. So queen d4 in this position. Oh, he's sacking. Alright. Let's hold that pawn. Okay, can I not play queen d4 here? For queen h8. It's mate threat. King g8. Well, it's looking good. Just get rid of this pin just in case. I have to be concerned about g1, I guess. If he goes to g1, it would be mate. If the queen goes to g1 in some way. So d6, queen b6 threatens mate. I can play rook c3 here. Queen b6, rook c8 is mating. It gives my king g3 as well as a bonus. Okay, I can take his queen. Alright, thanks for the game, Don. I'm going a little bit over time. I've got an infinite number of challenges. Oh dear, I seem to have challenged the entire site today. Okay. I'll be challenged by the entire site today. Okay, so anyway. Now, I did read an article recently that the more tired you get, the more you take risks. I actually noticed that in some of my past sessions that I get riskier and riskier and riskier. But I had a good night's sleep last night because I had some new pillows from this sleep silent sleep company, and these new pillows have worked a treat actually. So I think I had a good sleep last night. So this is an extended session testing my resilience and temptation not to play completely unsound rubbish. Okay, bishop c6 is on the cards, but it's protected by the bishop. If I play queen or just knight, what's wrong with knight d4 here? Out of interest. What was the idea? f7. It was tempted for f7, but it's going to drop e2. Right. So what? Okay, my king's in the center. If I don't suffer for some f7 disaster, what's happening here? Am I just gaining a tempo to win e2? It seems. Is that the story here? There's a check, I guess. c6, b5. And castle then. Just on the safe side. I could have taken on e2 first, actually. Yes, I'm starting to show signs of inaccuracy. Major inaccuracy. Queen d7, not for bishop h3. Isn't that bishop e2 here? Forcing move for bishop d3. Also there's bishop f2 if I want to play like a spectrum, just trying to munch material. So rook moves, bishop takes f2, and bishop takes g3. And it's got a point to it, melting down this pawn chain. Maybe e4 first. And bishop takes g3 next. Bishop h4. Yes, we're in overtime today. Can I take this? I mean, it looks as though knight g4 to f2 now. What's the matter with this? I'll just take it here. Again, there's knight f2 now. Do I have to be worried about bishop h6, I suppose? There's queen f6. I'll take the rook. Queen f6 on bishop h6. So I'm on the rook. Also, just get the queens off. I'll take this. Alright, thanks for the game. Oh, there's still quite a lot. Okay. I'm withering. Okay, should we make this the last game? Make this the last game. Hope you enjoyed today. If you want to start voting, if you found it fun, just out of curiosity, put 1 to 10, where 1 is fun, right? On the scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is boring. It'd be interesting to get your feedback during this last game. So if you want to vote today, that'd be cool. between 1 and 10. So if you found it fun, 1, 10 boring. But yeah. Okay. So D5, I think I'll take an E5 and then try and maybe play for F or F5 later. Knight B5, he could just move the knight. Oh, thanks guys. 1-1, 2-1 so far. Okay. I usually try, when I'm streaming on Twitch, I do this poll after and try and keep it going just for the poll. My opponent's nickname is almost like this nickname I've heard on American Pie. There's a character on American Pie which sounds remarkably similar to that nickname. I don't know if any of you have seen. Do you know the cultural reference I mean? It's worth watching. It's an American classic, American Pie series. Does this nickname remind anyone else of something? No, it's just me. Okay. There's a backward pawn on e6 here to target. So how to go around targeting it effectively? Rook e2, rook e1. What about just getting the dark square bishop? If I just grab this dark square bishop and give him frontal protection for his backward pawn in exchange for the dark square bishop, yeah. Alright, he hasn't taken me up on that, so I'm going to torture the backward pawn a bit more now by doubling rooks. My glasses are misting. I'm wondering if I should sort that out actually soon. There's nothing tactical here, no? That's a shame. What if I just simply took on d7 just to keep the frontal pressure going on e6? Now if the knight moves, maybe knight takes d5 or rook e6 needs to be considered. Like here, bishop d5 after, rook e6. This is where I'm getting unsound, isn't it? But I have got a problem in this position. Myself, that d4. So I've given myself a d4 problem. This might not have been entirely clever, I gotta say. Let's do this. This goes with the theory about becoming more unsound as one is tired. This is probably unsound territory, but I'm going to give it a punt. So rook takes, bishop d5. What? Why didn't he just take that? He didn't really trust me about that, did he? That seems a... just rook takes f6. Why didn't he just take that? I was looking... I don't think it was that great. The thing I found... the problem with it I found was king f7 in that line. Another time for a post-mortem. But I think here I've got rook takes f6. There's no amazing check, is there? I don't think that helps. There's bishop d5 and queen e5 now on the cards. No, I think that was a... was he in shock that I played rook e6? Did he do some pre-move? I'm still targeting my queen for a fork here on f3 potentially, but I've got two things on f3. So just bishop d5 here. On king h8, it's a double check and mate. Rook f8, double check and mate. I've got 97 here. Right, it's protected against 97. Alright, just anything here? Knight f6 now threatened. Okay, yeah, I think it's kind of like I gotta go. All right, I hope you enjoyed today, and yeah, thanks for letting me win, especially those that had winning positions and let me swindle you. So I really enjoyed it myself. Hope you did, and have a good week and a good Christmas. I might schedule. If I can schedule next week to avoid Christmas Day, I might be if there's a scheduled place available on Saturday. I'll try and find out. Okay, I'm not sure about doing anything on Christmas Day. Okay. Oh, okay. So have a good Christmas and New Year. Okay, see ya. Okay, thanks so much. Comments, questions, likes, appreciated.